Hello everyone, Dave Fernandez here. I'm the founder of the Coach Your Way School and the author of the #1 factor that determines your success in business, which, by the way, you can get for free once you join our Facebook group, and I'll add a link to the description so you can do so a little later. Welcome, and in today's video, I'm gonna talk about a question that I see being asked a lot online, which is, what is a life coach? What does a life coach do, and what is coaching all about? And in order to do that, we're gonna have to start by defining what a coach is. A coach is a combination of a mentor, a psychologist, and an accountability partner. A mentor, because usually the coach has seen some success or a lot of success in the area that the coachee is trying to get into, and has taken the time to break down the success into steps that then they can turn around and teach pretty much anyone so that they can also achieve the same success. Or the coach has a set of skills, well, most coaches do, that can pretty much turn any goal into a defined plan that then can be broken into tasks and things that you can schedule and pretty much take anyone through that path and get him to achieve that goal. So that's why the coach is kind of a mentor to the coachee. A psychologist, because once they start working together and they have defined a plan for them to work towards, there's a number of things that the coachee is going to have to start doing that are completely new to them and pretty much force them to start expanding their comfort zone. And usually those leaps into the unknown, at least for them, is something that will require a lot of inner work, deeper work, psychological work. And number 3 is an accountability partner, because once the plan is done and all the tasks are scheduled, the job of the coach is pretty much to get the person to start taking action on the plan and the task that they committed to doing in the time frame that they committed to do it in. And it's just a matter of keep them on track and measuring their progress and helping them along the way by providing resources or solutions to some of the problems that they'll encounter. Now that we have defined what a coach is, let's talk about what a coach does. And it could pretty much be summarized in 4 steps. So the first step is a coach helps clients define their goals. And this is pretty standard, usually happening on the first or second session, with a new client. A very simple way of doing it is just simply asking your client, where do they see themselves in 6 months or in a year? Right? And then start the conversation there. Usually that's going to lead to a lot of different things, specifically if the client is not very clear as to what their goals are, and that's why they're hiring the coach. If that's the case, then the coach utilizes some techniques in order to start gathering more information about what the client is looking to achieve, or they have some type of system. In my case, I have a 5-step system that is number of templates that I give my clients in order for them to fill out, and then we start the conversation there. And usually what happens is that at the end of the 5 steps, they'll have a very clear plan as to how to accomplish this goal within a year. Okay, another way about it, especially if the client is a little bit more clear about the goals that they want to achieve, and they may have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different goals that they're looking to achieve, in the next 6 months, maybe a year, is to ask, what would be the one goal out of all these goals that if you focused on it and achieved it in 6 months or to a year, that would actually be a game changer for you. It would change your life, it would transform the life of your family, and it would pretty much make all the other goals super achievable just because you achieved this one goal. Which one of those goals would actually have that effect in your life? And that usually is a pretty powerful question. Number 2 is you help the client create a plan to achieve this goal. So once you have taken the time to define the goals, and you have either pick the one that is going to be the life changer goal or the number of goals that they want to achieve, you go ahead and you help them create a plan around this goal. So usually you start with the end in mind, right? So what is the end goal? What does it look like? Let's make it as specific as possible so we know when we're there and we're not trying to guess. And then you backtrack. So it could be just as simple as just brainstorming, right? So this is the goal. We made it very specific. Now, what would I have to do in order to achieve this goal, right? You ask that question and then you both get to work together on brainstorming all the little tasks that will have to be done or completed in order to get there, right? So once you have completed the list, now you can go ahead and start scheduling this task, prioritizing every single one of these tasks, okay? You start asking the question, which one task could I complete this week that will move my business forward the most? And usually that does the trick. It starts, things start jumping out of this list and you can see where the priorities are. You can then pretty much chronologically kind of plan out the best you can. A lot of things are gonna come up along the way that need to be added, and a lot of things will be totally irrelevant after a little while. Okay, once you start, getting the ball rolling, a lot of these tasks will be like totally unnecessary. That's pretty much step number 2. Step number 3 is helping the client through the execution phase. So once you have, the goal defined in step number 1, then you have, the plan pretty much laid out with a list of tasks and everything's been scheduled, in your calendar, and hopefully you're sharing a calendar with your client so you both can, keep track of things together. Now it's a matter of helping the client perform the task on a timely manner. And what happens, like I mentioned before, sometimes some of these tasks are gonna be new to the client and a little outside their comfort zone, so they're gonna need some moral support, but it's more like a psychological support, where you're gonna have to maybe stop and talk about it and see what feelings are coming up and start seeing where the resistance is, if it's a matter of skills that they lack, or it's a matter of psychological issues that they have, again, resistance to completing some of these tasks. Throughout this process, the execution process, there's a lot of things that are gonna come up, and that's where the coach can help you through that. Instead of the client working by themselves, freezing and starting to just push things away or avoiding or just procrastinating on things. Now they're accountable because they have somebody that's watching over them and that's helping them, through this task, and is actually expecting them to succeed, okay? So usually this execution phase, it's a little challenging because we're talking about things that the client has never done. And this is usually why a coach gets hired. The planning and all that stuff is great, but primarily is the execution. The lack of ability to execute and stay on track and achieve your goals in a timely manner. And number 4, probably one of the most important roles that the coach has is the one of being an accountability partner for their clients. Okay, so during the execution phase, there's a lot of going back and forth, specifically at the beginning, as the client is getting used to having a new schedule and starting to do a number of activities that they may not be too comfortable doing. That's where the accountability partner side comes in, where you're checking with your coach, you're communicating, if you're experiencing hurdles or whatever, and there's that expectation that the client needs to show up. Sometimes clients could get a little sensitive with the feedback as things are not happening and the expectations are not being met, and sometimes hard conversations have to happen. That's what an accountability partner has to do. Another thing to keep in mind is that 80% of the job that a coach does has to do with removing internal blocks that the person is going to start experiencing as they start executing on their plan, okay? And the funny thing is that a lot of times, there's no way to really see any of this stuff until it starts happening, until the client starts taking action and start hitting these roadblocks, and you start doing that deeper work, the psychology part of the job, in order to uncover what's going on and what's kind of, getting in their way, to performing. And once you start removing some of these things, the growth starts getting exponential, because a lot of these blocks are no longer there, or at the very least, the client has learned ways to deal with them in a very effective way, so they can kind of like self-help themselves as they're going through the process. So it's super important to keep that in mind. So that's pretty much 80% of the job. Okay, so to recap, the job of the coach can be summarized in 4 steps. So number 1, they help you define goals at the beginning of the journey. Number 2, they help you create a plan. Break down all the tasks that need to be accomplished in order to reach the goal, schedule all this stuff, and have a very clear view on paper as to what has to happen in order to achieve the goal. Number 3 is the execution phase, where you help the client through the whole process, helping them overcome hurdles, helping them develop skills necessary for them to perform. And number 4 is the accountability part, where every week there's a check-in session where things are looked at and the progress is measured, and we see where everything stands and what needs to be done or changed or talked about in order to keep moving forward towards the goal. If you're looking to become a coach yourself, or you're in the process of becoming one currently, and you still have a little voice making you doubt whether you have what it takes to pull this off, that is called imposter syndrome, and I have made a video on how to overcome imposter syndrome with a 4-step formula. You make sure you watch it once you're done here. Hope you enjoyed this video and that it helped you better understand what seems to be some of the most asked questions about this topic. What is a coach? What does a coach do? And what's coaching all about? If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you're the first one to know next time there's a new video available. Till next time, I wish you the best. Let's get out there and start changing lives one session at a time. See ya.